America, in your
yes.
New Mexico.
Well, I'll speak to you about all the United States.
Yes.
Because it's one, since it's one country,
Right.
it's also one world.
Right.
It's
Right.
one situation
Right.
there throughout the United States.
Right.
And of course, there's a considerable amount of Dawah activity, and at this point in history,
Yes.
people trying to make the truth of Islam, putting it in the open so that people will have a choice. And I'd say among the different groups who are active, there's the MSA, the Muslim Student Association
Yes.
of the United States and Canada,
Right.
who are doing a certain type of work,
Right.
which is efficient, especially with certain types of individuals.
Right,
They're
right.
active on the university campuses,
Yes.
and with intellectuals and this
Right.
type of people.
Right.
But in other departments, they're not fulfilling the need.
Right.
Then also there's the work of Tabligh, Jamaat al-Tabligh,
Yes.
the Dawah organization that's, you know, in India and Pakistan. They're
Right.
doing another job
Right.
in the United
Right.
States. And quite active, I would say.
Right. Right.
But also there are some that are not being reached completely by their efforts.
Right.
And I could mention also the name of, let's say, one man, Sheikh Asaf Durakovich in upstate New York,
Yes.
who's based in Washington, but he's the leader, you might say the emir, of one Muslim community in the upstate New York, in Waterport, New York. And he is bringing a whole another caliber of
Right.
people
Right.
towards the deen
Right.
in a very subtle way.
Right.
His father was a sheikh of Tasawwuf in Yugoslavia,
Yes.
and he understands very well the knowledge of hearts and the knowledge of the souls.
Right.
So he's able to make very subtle dawah to people who you wouldn't ordinarily think
Right.
would come to the deen in America.
Right.
For example, doctors, lawyers,
Mhm.
and very sophisticated
Right.
Americans.
Right.
And so Allah is working in many unusual ways in the United States,
Right.
but there's still a great need of concentrating and uniting the effort in an intelligent way.
Right.
Because money is not the problem
Yes.
in the United States,
Yes.
but it's really being sensitive and intelligent when approaching the American people, because they're a very wealthy people
Right.
and a very intellectual people
Right.
in general, and you must present all sides of the story to them.
Right.
And you yourself must trust very much in the verse of the Quran which says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, La ikraha fi din, Qatar bayna rushd wal ghayy, which means, in other words, there's no compulsion in life transaction. The right way is clear from error.
Right.
You must, when you're making dawah in the West, among the Americans and among the European people, show them all sides of the situation and
Right.
trust in Allah that He will guide them to the right
Inshallah,
way.
inshallah.
But if you approach them as children,
Right.
saying read only this book or look at things only this way, they will reject you.
Yes.
So this is something that if you want to bring the in terms of a concerted effort, there has to be some. The Americans have to be approached in a very intelligent way, and this is why at this time, you know, some of us are interested in creating a center of Islamic and Middle Eastern studies in the United States, which is not exactly a university,
Yes.
but which is a place for people who are really searching for knowledge of truth.
Right.
Not to accumulate knowledge of deen for teaching to others, but for their own hearts and souls, where they can search and detail and review the whole history and situation from every perspective,
Right.
from Sunni perspective, from Shia perspective, from the perspective of the Sufis,
Right.
from the perspective even of the Jews and the Christians,
Right.
so that they can come to a sound conclusion based on knowledge. Because
Right.
a sound conclusion based on knowledge cannot be shaken.
Right.
But a conclusion that's not been based on being well informed can be shaken,
Right.
as mine was in
Right.
Marxism,
Right.
this man,
Right.
because I didn't understand deeply enough.
Right.
And so, with that in mind, it's important to provide this sort of, you know, complete information, make it accessible, because without that, the American people can never understand the current events in the world and can never really behave correctly in the world situation as diplomats,
Right.
as travelers, as businessmen,
Right.
because until you understand the Quran,
Right.
you cannot understand correctly the Middle Eastern situation,
that is true.
and until you understand the Middle Eastern situation, you can understand the world situation.
That is true.
So the key is to understand Islam, and it's the duty, it's our duty as Muslimin to convey the message,
Right.
as my brother Ahmed Deedat are making a small effort to do in a humble way. Because if we don't, we cannot put the responsibility on the Jews and the Christians.
True.
But we must take it on our own shoulders.
First, at least we must deliver the message.
Yes.
Now, these Bilalians, they call themselves Bilalians.
Yes.
Here the name Wallace Muhammad.
Exactly.
These people, are they doing anything among the Negroes or the Afro-Americans in the field of propagation?
Yeah, really the term that's in, that is used in the United States is really Black American. It's the preferred term, just for reference.
But, right.
Yeah.
Black American.
Yes,
right.
I think that they have done quite a bit over the years. It's one of the largest Muslim organizations in the United States.
Right.
And of course, the father of Wallace D. Muhammad, makes a whole, his history is a whole story in itself.
Right.
And Warith Deen Muhammad, his story is a story in itself.
Right.
Something I don't really feel qualified to speak about in depth. But I will say that, of course, they made a positive contribution to the overall Islamic situation in the United States.
Yes.
There's some who don't agree with their views,
Right.
and they have some views which would be acceptable to all Muslims.
Yes.
And so, like any other gathering or group, we must take what's best from our brother and spit out the seed.
Right. Right.
If I keep company with you and you see something incorrect in my behavior, you must take the truthful words I said to you. But if I do something incorrect, you must leave that behind.
Right.
And that way you will find that the correct sect, because Muhammad once said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the Muslim community, there are 72 sects, I think.
That is reputed to have said that.
Yes, reputed. And of these, only one is on the right path.
Yes.
And from my own conclusions, I've come to the understanding that the one on the right path is those who truly are loving Allah.
Yes.
No matter what company they're sitting with, no matter what situation they are finding themselves in. And those are the ones on the right path.
Yes. May Allah guide us all to His way.
Inshallah. So, thank you.
We look forward to the opportunity of meeting you again.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to relate my story. And I ask one more favor, and that is to give my telephone number in New Mexico to any Muslim or non-Muslim in the world who would like to talk about these subjects with me or is coming to the United States to visit.
Really, please, yes.
And that is, it's the following number. If you call it, you can have a word with me. Dial 505.
505. 505.
Yes. 758.
758.
1519.
19.
Yes. And thanks very much.
Just that the first one was the code.
Yes,
in
the
United
code.
States.
And the last is the number, yes.
Right.
So, if anyone would like to have a continued conversation with me, I'm Allah's servant and have nothing better to do than to sit down, as I just have with my brother Ahmed, and talk with you as well. But I want to thank Ahmed Deedat very much also, because it's been a really inspirational experience also to visit Durban and the Muslimin in Durban and the Islamic Propagation Center. It's really inspirational and has strengthened my iman, my faith in Allah and His servants in this very day. Because in general in the world today, I think the Muslimin are in the state of the brothers of Yusuf. There are many who claim to be Muslim, but few who are loving Allah correctly. And those who are loving Allah correctly are often being put down the well and abandoned by their other brothers. And so to meet Ahmed Deedat and to see the Islamic Propagation Center makes me feel happy, as if I was to sit with Yusuf alayhi salam. Because I see the brothers here loving Allah very much, and that makes me very happy. Alhamdulillah. So that's enough of a compliment, because all praise is due to Allah. And if I compliment this man too much, it's as if I was to kill him. So I don't want to. I want to make him cry, but not that sort of way.
Jazakallah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You can cut it.